Alright, El Camino film analysis. I would also, before we begin, I'd like to apologize. This will not be 3 to 5 minutes. I love yapping. This is a great movie. And also, I like to say, spoiler alert, please go watch this. I beg of you, go watch the movie. I'd feel really bad if I didn't say this. El Camino, it's a work of art. I chose it because I feel Vince Gilligan, he's a great director, a great cinematographer, and I just truly believe this is one of the best movies you can do it on. Now, a brief summary is that Jesse Pinkman, who is a character from Breaking Bad, and this movie takes place directly after the TV show ends. Like 30 seconds after in the Breaking Bad universe. Takes place right after a large shootout. Jesse Pinkman being freed from his neo-Nazi captors by Walter White. And these neo-Nazi captors I talk about, they locked him in his own personal version of hell, and they forced him to cook meth in order to survive. They tortured him, beat him, and killed people who he cared about just so he would stay in his place. After all of this, after all the crime he does, he decides, I need to leave. He goes to a disappearer, which is an old man named Ed at a vacuum store, and must pay $125,000 in order to disappear. However, in the movie, he gets about $248,000, which is more than enough. But because he's already tried escaping once during Breaking Bad, he has to pay $250,000 as it's his second time disappearing. And he doesn't have enough money, which leads to him trying to get this money. And in the end, he does make it to Alaska. And the slide here says happily ever after. However, I'm not quite sure on how accurate this is, I would like to admit. Now, plot diagram. The setting takes place Albuquerque, New Mexico. Movie begins on September 7, 2010, and continues throughout however long. It doesn't really say. We can assume it's up to a week. However, there are multiple flashbacks that take place earlier. Some are much earlier, some are later. I'll talk about one of the flashbacks later, which was at least 8 months, I believe. And it's based around a young man named Jesse Pinkman searching for a new life. Now, rising action. There's a few points of rising action in El Camino. That's Jesse goes to his friend's house, Skinny Pete, and asks for help. They believe he's dead. He's not dead. He shows up. Oh my God, Jesse, I love you. I didn't know you were alive. Hey guys, I need help. I need to get some money. I need to disappear. I need to get the police off my tail because obviously, Jesse Pinkman, he's one of the biggest meth cooks in all of television history. He's not really on good terms with the law. So they help him out, and to get the money, he breaks into one of the neo-Nazis' apartments. And inside the apartment, he gets caught by 2 police officers, one of which is named Neil Candy. Fun fact about these police officers is that they bought their uniforms at Spirit Halloween, and neither of them are real. Now, they beat him up, and somehow he talks them into splitting the money 3 ways. This gives him $248,000. Isn't enough. He must go get more money later. Now, Jesse visits the disappearer, and he realizes he's short on cash, but only then. So he comes up with a plan to do it, and he calls his parents, apologizes for everything, says, hey, you guys didn't go wrong anywhere. It was all me. Let's have a picnic. They go, his parents drive to the picnic. He goes to their house, and he steals their guns. All right. Climax. Climax takes place between Jesse Pinkman and Neil Candy. It is a shoot-off between the two, and basically, Neil makes fun of Jesse's gun and says, your gun's really tiny. So let's have a Wild Western duel, and whoever wins can take all the money, no strings attached. And Jesse's like, okay, well, you know what? I need to win. So what happens? They both put a gun on their waistband, and whoever wait for each other to draw, and there's a battle of wits. However, Jesse Pinkman kind of cheats. He puts a second gun in his coat pocket, and the moment Neil reaches for the gun in his waistband, he drops dead. Now, this leads to a big gunfight between the other police officer, which is this guy right here, who I honestly forgot the name of. I apologize. Who goes off and tries to just save the day. He ends up getting shot too. Following action, Jesse Pinkman just killed 2 people and threatened like 5 others by saying, if you tell anyone about this, I'm going to kill you. So he needs to get rid of the evidence. He burns down the whole facility. It all goes up in flames. And he meets with the Disappearer for a second time. And then finally, we resolute, and Jesse finds peace after disappearing to Alaska. Gets a new identity, a new backstory. He begins the rest of his life hiding from his crime, but he's happy. And the last thing before he says goodbye to everyone he's ever met is a letter to a young child named Brock Cantillo. And his mother was murdered by the formerly mentioned neo-Nazi captors. Jesse attempted to escape, and as punishment, they stuck him in a car and they made him watch his girlfriend get shot. Yep, they're great people, obviously. The set. El Camino was created around a very harsh landscape, as most of the Breaking Bad universe just is. Many of the shots with Jesse are taken to capture him alone, as if he has nothing left and he must start over. He's always in a hard spot and needs to get out. As we see here, it's a very open landscape. There's nothing here. He's alone. All he has is a car and a beard. The interiors of buildings were all made industrial, just like his neo-Nazi hideout. So we kind of get, bad feelings looking at it because, well, it's not great. And many buildings also have small interiors to mimic Jesse Pinkman's prison cell. If we go back to the climax, we can see this is a rather cramped industrial building. It's not really like a big factory, but it's still like industrial styled. Alright, so now we're going to go back here. And another fun fact is that a portion of the Breaking Bad set, El Camino set, sorry, was recycled from Breaking Bad, including the last thing that Walter White ever touched being this container. Now, Walter White, as you can see, put his blood-stained hand on this container, and it was not washed because of how iconic it was, and you can find this in the movie if you look close enough. Now, the lighting. The lighting in El Camino is just as complex as everything else. Let's be real here. The movie uses shadows as displays of characters. Lamps and other small fixtures are also used to subtly make a room darker. The majority of shots are taken in darker lighting. This is to fixate on Jesse's fear and the fact that he is hopeless. Watching the movie with this lighting makes you feel equally as unsafe and paranoid as Jesse is in the scenes. But during some flashback scenes, like the one I'm about to show you, the lighting is often warm to make it feel like Jesse's life used to be better with Walter and Mike. Now, first example of this is the one right here, which I will talk about. And it's what's depicted in this picture. It's a warm landscape with Jesse Pinkman and Mike Ehrmantraut. They used to be quite good friends before Walter White murdered this guy because he insulted Walter's ego. Now, warm lighting is used to show that Jesse was happy and maybe even at peace because we're in nature and we're by flowing water and the camera's low, pointing up to show that Jesse's in control of everything. Nothing's really going on. It's a peaceful scene. It's nice. Makes us think, wow, if only everything could be like that earlier. Now, complete opposite scene coming back straight after Breaking Bad ends, like start of the movie, first 3 minutes, opening scene. Jesse's running away in a car. It's at night. It's scary. It's intense. And it's very dramatic. And the police cars come over the hill, and we don't see them, and Jesse doesn't see them, but he sees the red and blue flashing lights, and that's how he knows to escape. And also, I'd like to talk about this picture specifically. So we can see we have Jesse Pinkman lit up here. His face is more lit than the back of his head to draw attention to his emotions. He looks uneasy here. He's centered in frame, but also the bright LED Candy Welding Co. sign to show this is where he is. It's not great, but this is where he is. This is what he's doing, and as we know, he doesn't like industrial areas are just scary for him. We can see that this is like an industrial like area. No, not great. But I like to say this picture shows a lot and there's many like it. This is the only one I could find on the internet. Camera angles. Let's talk about them specifically. Now, it uses many wide shots, like the one I showed earlier, of Jesse Pinkman to show that he is alone. Draws a picture of loneliness on this part of his life. They also place him in very large open areas to make him seem small and drive home that he needs to escape what he's living. There's also many shots that are pretty much the exact opposite. Very close up, very cramped, very claustrophobic, straight on Jesse, just to make it feel just trapping. And characters are often shot from the waist pointing up to make them appear bigger than Jesse. Low and high angles are frequently used throughout the entire Breaking Bad universe to just show off their power. In Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, they do this a lot with Gustavo Fring, who was arguably the most powerful person in the entire series, and it happens here as well. More things I'd like to talk about. Example of camera angles are the hip shots during the dueling scene. As you can see right here, it's placed at the hip. Hip shots are normally used to show pew pews, and this is Jesse Pinkman's pew pew right here. And if you look closely, you can see the second pew pew that's hidden in here. Now, another one. See this one? It's low and it's pointing up. It's to show that these two, they're kind of in control of the position. Camera doesn't shake or anything during the scene. It's just peaceful. It's controlled. It makes you feel at ease. And I imagine that's what Jesse was feeling right now during this, even though it is a little bit darker and gloomier than the former picture I showed earlier back on this slide, which is the same scene. Now, it's still they're in controlled. As you can see, this one also has a little bit of tilt to show the intensity. As you can see, the background is slightly tilted. Now, the conclusion to this, I just like to say, I made this because I felt like it. I love Vince Gilligan's work. And I chose this movie because I felt it could really push home how emotions are displayed through film creation, from tight spaces and how low angles stressing out the audience to warm flashbacks making us remember what we once had. Cinematography in El Camino just makes us feel as emotional as Jesse Pinkman is during the film. And I truly recommend this movie as it's a great watch. And I really apologize if I spoiled it because it's so good. It's so good, but honestly, that's kind of your fault. I did warn you. So, with that, that is my media studies final, which is due in about an hour and a half. So, I will see you later. Have a good night.